He has. Dominic Perrottet, the New South Wales Premier, rather than the Prime Minister, announcing on Friday that Australia's international border was open from November 1, he was soon reined in, with the PM saying hours later that Border Force would only be allowing vaccinated Australians in and out without quarantine, not international vaccinated tourists or students. It is my understanding Perrottet had discussed several times with the PM the prospect of having no quarantine as opposed to 7 days home quarantine for international arrivals, but had not committed to this, and his office informed the PM's office on Friday of the looming announcement. Then a phone conversation took place between Morrison and Perrottet, where Morrison asked what Perrottet was planning to do about those who came from countries without as secure vaccine records as Australia. Had it been a free-for-all, Health Minister Greg Hunt would have had to make an emergency declaration and decide what sort of penalties people who falsely claimed they had been vaccinated would have faced. There also would have had to be more clarity about vaccinations not approved by Australia's Therapeutic Goods Administration, so it was just easier for the PM to restrict the travel to vaccinated Australians and their immediate families. From Perrottet's point of view, he was taking firm, decisive action he had often privately criticised Gladys Berejiklian for not taking, and his view was the hotel quarantine experience showed overseas arrivals had less coronavirus than the percentage of people in the Sydney community at present. Anyway, it made for some spectacle, seeing the New South Wales government saying tourists could come back and the PM forced to announce 4 hours later it would be a bit more restricted than that.
From 1 November, those people, returning Australians, tourists who want to come back, who want to visit Australia, who want to come into Sydney, hotel quarantine will be a thing of the past.
It's for the Commonwealth Government, the federal government, to decide when the border opens and shuts at an international level, and we will do that. In the first instance, it will be for Australians, Australian residents and their families. The federal government is not opening it up to anything other than Australian citizens and residents and their immediate families.
Now, this has created a very interesting dynamic and could assist the PM to force other states to adopt the national plan for reopening. Picture a citizen from Brisbane or Perth or Adelaide or Hobart who travels to Sydney to travel internationally to see loved ones. Are those premiers going to stop their residents coming back in after that international visit? The West Australian had 82% supporting Mark McGowan's hard border stance in a poll yesterday, so I guess it requires that level of public support for zero COVID in those states to change first. A testing few months ahead for the Federation, Kieran.